Oh my god. This book has killed more people than Grey's Anatomy. Hi, and welcome to Ashburg. Full disclosure, I just had a panic attack. Not because of anything, it just happened for some reason. But I have a video to film. You read a week of horror books and then you frickin' panic, I guess. Anyway, this week, oh my god. This week was a lot of fun because we got to read some newly released horror books. We obviously did this in honor of spooky season. We wanted to get the blood pumping, the heart rate up, wish granted. The books that I chose for this week were Burn the Negative by Josh Winning and Looking Glass Sound by Catriona Ward. So very quickly, Burn the Negative. This one is about a journalist named Laura Warren. Laura's on her way to LA to report on a remake of a 90s horror movie originally called The Guest House, which she actually starred in secretly when she was younger. In The Guest House, Laura played the role of the little girl who would tell people how the supernatural entity, the Needle Man, was going to kill them. But after the original movie was filmed, members of the cast and crew actually started to die in ways that were similar to how people died in the movie. Obviously, the film became a cult classic from there, but it also ruined Laura's life. She changed her name, her entire appearance, and fled to the other side of the world to escape it all. But now she's back, and people start dying again. Laura finds herself on the run with her aspiring actress sister and a jaded psychic, hoping to end the curse once and for all and to stay out of the Needle Man's lethal reach. As for Looking Glass Sound, this one I have to read from the book because it's so vague for a reason, and just watch and see what I had to go through with this book. In a cottage overlooking the windswept Maine coast, Wilder Harlow has begun the last book he will ever write. It's the story of the summer days of his youth in Whistler Bay and the blood-stained path of the killer that stalked his small vacation town. But the more Wilder writes, the less he trusts himself in his memory. He starts to see things that can't be real. Notes hidden in the cottage from an old friend now dead, a woman with dark hair drowning in the icy waters below, calling for help, and entire chapters he doesn't recall typing, appearing overnight. Who or what is haunting Wilder? What a journey. What a journey that book was. So without further ado, please enjoy. Hello, I just had some nachos. Let's do this. My goal for this week's books is to be scared. And not just scared, but terrified. The kind of fear that brings on your sleep paralysis demon. Like, that's the sweet spot. I am someone who likes scary movies, kind of. But I am also admittedly a massive coward. I'm somebody who watches scary movies, like, you know? Or I'll do that little trick where you look like you're looking at the screen, but really you're looking at the bottom right corner and people can't tell. So you look strong and brave, but you're not. There are just some things that my little brain just doesn't have to see. We don't have to see everything. So I do like horror movies. But the thing about books is that I think it's the perfect safe space to experience horror and to be scared, but like you're in control of the visuals. Like, I feel like that's the perfect spooky cocktail for someone like me. But all in all, the goal of us reading these two books is to be scared. I want to be scared. I did get the chance to make some headway in both Burn the Negative and Looking Glass Sound, so let's do a little reading update. Burn the Negative. Our main character, Laura, has officially landed in LA. She's been visiting the set. She's making those mental adjustments, having to be back in LA for the first time in years. And already a few spooky things have been happening. I don't know if I'm convinced by this one yet, and I think that's because the overall vibe of this book so far is fun slasher, but like fun slasher from the 80s. You know how 80s slasher movies, because the graphics weren't as good as they are now, sometimes they can have like a silly, goofy quality. You might get a few good jump scares when the guy comes out the closet with a knife, but you're not necessarily chilled. You're having a good time. That's the vibe that I'm getting from Burn the Negative so far. But I'm just hoping that Laura's experiences and the Needle Man himself Something about calling this supernatural man's name out loud, it don't feel good. It don't feel good in my spirit. I will be busting out the white sage after this. But I do hope that the supernatural entity's antics kind of beef up a bit as we read on. Still solid, still flying through, still very excited. Looking Glass Sound. Burn the Negative, what did I describe it as? Like a fun slasher? That's the vibe that's giving. This is giving ominous. It's giving spook. It's feeling like there's a disturbance in the air. Looking Glass Sound definitely moves a little slower. Right now, it's been a lot of Wilder recounting what happened that summer that kicks off everything that happens for the rest of the book. Being at the beach, being at the beach house, meeting these new friends, these very odd friends. And although technically nothing plot-wise has really happened, you're aware that something is wrong. Whether something's wrong with the friends themselves or something's wrong with Wilder, I'm not really sure. It's just that feeling of, I know that I'm gonna have a really bad time, which I literally asked for. It's funny how I always talk about I want books to mess me up, but then the minute that they show a sign of messing me up, I scream. So at this point, you guys know me well enough to know that because I'm sitting on the floor, my dog is currently staring at me like I've just shot his favorite toy in the chest because he wants to sit in my lap. You guys know how he is by this point. What you don't know is that I'm about to cave and let him sit in my lap, because he's a good boy. But I have made some more progress in our 2 horror books for the week, so let me update you on both of them. Burn the Negative. Things in Burn the Negative have definitely kicked off. Listen, Laura is being harassed by someone. Whether it's the Needleman, whether it's some other supernatural force, whether it's just some guy, somebody's harassing her. She really can't catch a break. She can't scratch her own ass without the Needleman popping up in some form or another. It's obviously very tiring for her, especially because she didn't want to even be here in the first place, and she spent like her entire life running from this whole situation. She's obviously desperate to leave and get back to her life, but circumstances prevent her. Sit and stay. I just had to palm him in the forehead to stop him. Come show the people how bad you are. Yes. Okay, this is unprofessional. What was I saying? The poor thing just wants to go home, okay? She's being terrorized at this point. So that's what Laura's up to. As for the spooky factor, I think this book is trying to do something, kind of make me a little freaked out, creeped out. As of yet, though, I just don't know if I'm really feeling it. It's a good attempt, but there's something lacking. Maybe because it's just so much fun. Like, the plot itself is just so fun. Like, I'm having a good time. So I don't know if I'm taking it as seriously as I should be. It moves by quickly. There are some thrills, but they feel a little cheap. They feel a little soft compared to other things that I've read, which doesn't feel like it was the author's intention. So I might be hurting his feelings a bit. He's like, I spent so much time crafting this terrifying villain and putting all these different things in there to scare you. You're scared. It's dark and you're scared. And I'm like, I'm having so much fun. This is so cute. But that's where we're at in Burn the Negative. As always, there's plenty of time to switch course. I have been burned so many times. Looking Glass Sound. We have definitely gotten to the point in this where the summer fun is over. Wilder was having a fun, silly summer, and that's over now, baby. The book really did say, oh, Wilder, are you finally having some sweet summer memories? One of the things that I have loved about this book so far is that the author is able to make such a swift shift in tone when talking about like the beachy vibes. So for example, in one paragraph, we'll be getting a lot of descriptions of the ocean that are just refreshing and gorgeous. And she's able to take that happy, hopeful image and then in the next paragraph, just turn the ocean into something that is suffocating and malevolent. So for so much, we were bobbing back and forth between feeling like we want to be there, just stretched out in the summer sun, and then wanting to pack everything you own and leave. So she's got chops. I've also really enjoyed the dynamics between Wilder and his summer friends. Things between them are so strange, definitely pretty toxic, but then at the same time, like also deep and loving. like war buddies. But a lot of good stuff in here so far. I can't quite say that I'm scared yet. The feeling of this has been more unpleasant and then at times threatening, but not quite scared. And now that we've uncovered what like the big summer incident was, there's so much room to see how this affects Wilder and what happens in the future from here. But both of these so far have been very entertaining. I just want the it factor. I want that adrenaline rush. Maybe famous last words. I don't know. So what I really need is for someone to come to my house and explain what's happening in Looking Glass Sound. I'm following what's happening. I'm following what's happening. I'm following what's happening. Like
She was lost.
I'm following the plot as it's written, but I just don't know what any of this is leading to. I have about 100 pages left, and we've been following Wilder's life since the event of that summer. And I mean, like, we've been following years and years and years, and we're reading about how that summer has affected Wilder's life, things that have been done to him because of it. I know that we're like somewhat heading towards the end, but I just don't know what the end is supposed to be. There's something greater at play. I feel it. Like a bunch of bad stuff happened to Wilder and his friends that summer. Sure. And it's followed him for the rest of his life. Also sure. But the way that people have described this, an origami puzzle of a book, the mystery so beautifully crafted you don't see the folds. A frightening nesting doll of a novel. Those are not words you use for a simple biography of a screwed up man. Those are words you use when a book is about to crack my brain open like an egg. So I really feel like we should just finish this so I can get to that. I have to know. Because you can't put an evocative, bone-chilling read on the front of this and then not chill my bones. My bones aren't chilled. They're nice and toasty. But we gotta read this. We gotta start this. We gotta get to the bottom of this because I'm tired. And then I didn't read. Not one word. Didn't even open the book. Instead, I started crocheting a scarf. So I used to crochet on and off, and the off was like 8 years. But recently I wanted to add a new hobby since I've started like really severely restricting my time on social media to give me more opportunities to do things that are actually going to make me happy and like enrich my life. And then I could listen to like a little audiobook or harass my boyfriend or something while I crochet. So that's what I did. But we're going to get back on track now because I do need to finish these 2 books that I've been reading. I do need to finish them. We might actually finish both of them tonight, but we're at least going to get Looking Glass Sound done. And then later we'll crochet. It's finally hitting and I'm scared. Some of this imagery is really... I'm confused, but I'm scared. I have like maybe 50 pages left. Things are starting to weave themselves together, but I'm still so lost. However, I am fascinated. Like I am hooked, ready to see how all of this blends up together. And even at this stage, I still don't know like what this is all for. I don't know what ending we're hurtling towards. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Catriona Ward. She's annoying. What? Wilder's luck is so bad. What? What? That can't be it, right? Okay. Okay. I need them to start from the beginning and explain this to me like I'm 5. I'm so confused. Okay, hold on. I gotta work this out. What is real and what isn't real? You said I said the Needleman wasn't scary? I said that? I would never say that. Why would you even bring that up? So much has happened in Burn the Negative. Whatever curse has been following this movie cast is nothing to play with. The Needleman is serious about his business, and I respect him. There has been so much disaster. So much has gone wrong. So many people have died. Laura, her sister, and the psychic have just been spending so much time trying to track the source of the curse to see if they can break it, while simultaneously being on the run from like 3 different people. The investigation has brought up so many questions that I just don't have an answer to. It's been leading them all over the place. They're running into people. They're getting people killed. They're not sure who to trust. They're not even sure if they can trust each other, and they are doing their best. But the Needleman is up by 58 points, okay? They're stressed. I'm stressed. I mean, this is just nothing that I expected from this book. It's just been so addictive and fun and tense, and I've had moments where I was genuinely scared. And I know that I've said this word so many times when talking about this book, but I have to emphasize again that this book is just fun. Like, it's so much fun to read. Josh Winning makes reading 120 pages feel like you've just read 40. That is talent. So that being said, where we are now, Laura, the psychic, and her sister finally feel like they're at the point where they're ready to figure out what's been going on, what brought forth the Needleman, and probably have their final showdown with him, which I'm not feeling optimistic about because, as I said before, he's nothing to play with. Does this ever happen to you guys where you're so excited by what you're reading? You're like reading way too fast, where you're like jumping to buzzwords so you have the gist of what's going on, but you're not really taking everything in? That's what I'm doing, which is silly because I'm missing all the delicious content. I just want to know what's happening so badly. But I cannot achieve that by reading this book like the librarians are going to bust down the door in 5 minutes and rip it out my hand, which they would do. The feisty folk. See, nah, no. Something about this, it's not adding up. Some of these reactions, not quite right. My heart is pounding. I can feel it pounding in my chest. We're about to hit it. We're about to hit the reveal. Sometimes I also have to cover up the page because my eyes will just naturally try and jump down. I did not see that coming. God, what are we missing? What are we missing? I'm stressed. This is a mess. Oh my God. This book has killed more people than Grey's Anatomy. Is he for real? Josh Winning, you are a bastard. So, those were the books. Let's talk about Looking Glass Sound first. There's just no way I'm not going to read this again. This book was imaginative and multi-layered, and it was also hard to rate because I feel like without truly understanding everything that went on, it was hard to gauge how well the ending fit and how satisfied I was with the ending. But off of the first read alone, I still thought it was pretty good. And I think with this one, we landed at about like a 3.75 rating that I rounded up to 4 on Goodreads. I thought the book was well written and ambitious, and I appreciate all of the risks that Ward took to create such a twisted up book. And in a case like this, I'm not really at all bothered by the fact that I'm going to have to read this one again to really get the grasp of it. She outfoxed me. What can I say? Biggest complaint with this book is that there were some chapters in here that were extremely repetitive. I don't want to say too much, but you are getting the perspective of some of the events of the book from someone else. And I personally am not a fan of being forced to read things from an opposite perspective because there's just too much overlap. It tends to just get like a little too tedious and a little too boring for me. And because those repetitive parts were such a chunk of the book, it lessened my enjoyment. But still 3.75 stars. Excellent rating. As for the scare factor, there were definitely a couple scenes in here that got me, but just a couple of scenes. Most of it, I would say, fell into the creepy, eerie side of things rather than the full-on, oh my god, I'm scared to close my eyes part, which is fine. I still felt incredibly uneasy when I was reading it. Burn the Negative. Burn the Negative was a blast. This is not a book that wanted me to take it too seriously, so I didn't. I just enjoyed it so much. It was really nonstop action, nonstop movement. At times it was a little silly, that's to be expected, but damn, it was fun. Do I think this book holds up to scrutiny? No. Did I examine the book any further to point out any of its actual flaws and places where it didn't make sense or the plot fell through? No. It just wanted to give me some spooky season vibes. It did. I received. What else do you want from me? Ultimately, I gave it 3 stars. When I set up the right atmosphere, creepy music in the background, not too many lights on, there were quite a few scenes that did freak me out. Again, did it rise to the level of giving me nightmares or making me scared to be by myself at night? Not necessarily, but it got the job done. And if you're in the mood for like an easy breezy kind of scary time, this was great. So that's it. Those are the 2 books that I read this week. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you had a really fun time seeing me read these newly released horror books. And that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for visiting Ashburg. We were so happy to have had you, and we hope to see you again very soon. Bye!